Extreme ice consumes the town.
Huge ice all around. Amazing.
Mega monster hail, so large, it's potentially deadly.
It looked like an alien mothership was coming in.
What looks like ominous balls of cotton in the sky.
The strangest cloud formations I've ever seen.
And exploding frozen bubbles. Welcome to the wild world of weather, where you'll see nature go nuts. Extraordinary events, stranger than anything Hollywood can dream up. We discover how and why these crazy conditions happen.
Not going away.
Whoa! You won't believe your eyes. This is the strangest weather on Earth. Versoix, Switzerland, February 2012. A bizarre glassy world emerges on the shores of Lake Geneva. White alien shapes. This is the small Swiss town of Versoix, entombed in ice half a foot thick. Olivier Steiger is a long-term resident.
It was all frozen here. This was all ice here. Ice, ice, ice. And especially here, it was like 1 or 2 feet of ice and not flat. And then suddenly I saw 1 or 2 boats that were actually completely sinking. They sunk because of the weight of the ice. It's really amazing to see.
The ice is so dense and strong, cars are locked in place and totally immovable. The peaceful town of 13,000 residents has become unrecognizable, even to the people that know it best.
Look at this. And then you compare the pictures I have of that. Huge ice all around. Amazing. You'll have to see this. On the pictures, it looks amazing.
This weird frozen world was built by an exceptional and unrelenting storm. Versoix lies full in the face of polar gusts that channel through the nearby mountain ranges. Lionel Peyraud is a weather expert at Météo Suisse in Geneva.
We do get quite a lot of windstorms with this northeast breeze wind that blows in through here on the plateau between the Jura Mountains and the Alps here. The effects can be felt quite vividly.
As the winds funnel between the two mountain ranges, they increase in power and speed. To make matters worse, in 2012, Europe is gripped by a vicious cold snap through February. Arctic winds and sub-zero temperatures tighten their icy grip on Versoix. 50-mile-an-hour gusts create large waves on the lake and a haze of spray.
Spray is actually picked up and floats above the lake surface and eventually reaches the lake shore. And if temperatures are below zero, then you can also get ice accumulation due to that.
Spray from the lake showers the town for 2 weeks. On contact with the freezing coastline, the haze of water instantly turns to ice, building into a rock-hard shell 5 inches thick. It takes weeks for the winds to die away and ice to melt, allowing the town to emerge from its straitjacket and return to normal.
It doesn't happen every winter, it doesn't happen every week or every month. It's something really rare. I see it as a beautiful change of the monotony of the winter. I would love to have it every week.
Dallas, Texas, June 2012.
I've been watching these clouds slowly form like this, and it's really strange. I don't understand it.
A swarm of mysterious pocket clouds hang from the sky, like a blanket of bubble wrap. This strange cloud formation is called mammatus. Their distinctive shape gives them their name. Mammatus is Latin for udder. As Scott Denning from Colorado State knows, weather science isn't all math and physics.
Mamatis clouds are these round things that hang out of the bottom of a thunderstorm. They were named that because they look like breasts. They really kind of catch people's eye and really quite striking up there in the sky.
What is that? Somebody please explain it to me.
Exactly how Mamatis form is not fully known. But at their heart, there needs to be extreme changes in wind direction, temperature, and moisture.
Clouds take on unusual forms just because the air is moving in unusual ways. If there's a cloud there, the cloud can show you the motion in the air and different ways that the air can move. In a Mamatis cloud, there are these rolls, these turbulent rolls in the air, and they're carrying just millions of these little tiny water droplets around and around, and that's what you see when you look up.
Mamatis are loaded with an exceptional amount of water and ice. It keeps their distinctive shape hanging in the sky. Dave Maiulo from Rutgers University will illustrate the staying power of Mamatis clouds.
Mamatis clouds, which appear to hang around our atmosphere for a good while, are actually filled with water and ice. And here we have a version of a Mamatis cloud, which is basically a water balloon. You can see them kind of hanging here, just like those clouds would. And you can see they're mixed in with these other balloons, which are just normal air balloons. So what we intend to do now is actually apply some of the energy of the atmosphere the same way it would heat up that cloud and see why they don't actually disappear very fast. With this case, using a torch. Now we'll apply this flame to the clouds. See the result.
The air balloons represent normal clouds. When the flame is applied to the Mamatis clouds, the heat capacity of the water prevents them from bursting.
It's amazing you can put a torch to a balloon and not have it bust, like we saw those regular balloons bust. The other balloons, like regular clouds, with a little bit of heat have all evaporated away, whereas the baskets of water and ice that make up a Mamatis cloud can stay and absorb the warmth of the atmosphere, not disappear at all. Amazing.
There is more to Mamatis clouds than just their weird shape. They can be a sign of deadly weather systems to come, like warning beacons in the sky. In 2011, Mamatis clouds blanketed the sky above Joplin, Missouri. Shortly afterwards, the now infamous EF5 tornado ripped through the town, killing 161 people.
Oh gosh, that is a monster tornado.
This is totally weird.
And these clouds can also be a sign of all clear as well. As the Joplin twister fades away, the Mamatis reappear in the calming skies.
We're in Mount Vernon, and this is what's left after the storm. The strangest cloud formations I've ever seen.
Coming up, huge pieces of destructive hail.
One of the most prolific hail-producing supercells I've ever seen.
A plague of birds rain from the sky.
Hundreds or thousands of birds can be killed in a single thunderstorm.
And a floating rainbow that's upside down.
What is that doing there?
Vivian, South Dakota, July 2010. Extraordinary monster hail, the largest ever recorded.
This will be the U.S. record and the world record.
18 inches in circumference. One piece is almost as big as a volleyball. The hail destroys houses and cars, going clean through a roof.
There have been ice balls, hailstones that have fallen out of the sky, literally the size of soccer balls. They're really quite dangerous, so you have to watch out for these things.
Storm chaser Reed Timmer is on a twister road trip in the Texas Panhandle when he gets caught by monster hail.
It looked like an alien mothership was coming in for landing. And then you hear this thump, thump, thump. We're the windshield. We got to get up here 2 miles, take a right at 214. We'll go down a mile. So we were looking up and we could see the hailstones coming out of the storm, getting closer and closer, bigger and bigger. And then there was an explosion right on the windshield.
I'm not sure the windshield's gonna last much longer.
Yeah, we gotta get out of this. You had a crack here, a crack there. There's glass flying through the vehicle.
Oh! Keep going, Joel!
All right, we gotta keep going. When hail gets that big and it's blowing out your windshield, it can easily come through the windshield and possibly kill you.
Reed's fears are backed by grisly evidence. Rupkund Lake in the Indian Himalayas. 200 human skeletons from the year 850 are found scattered around the water's edge. For years, their origin is a mystery. In 2004, forensic researchers excavate and analyze the bodies. They find that all 200 died from the same deep fractures to the skull caused by round, blunt objects. The bodies in India are now believed to have been killed by monster hail, weighing over 2 pounds apiece. Dave Maiulo, a physicist from Rutgers University, explains how a piece of hail can grow that big.
People are always amazed about how large monster hail can become, just like this jawbreaker. If you cut this jawbreaker in half, you'll note that it's actually made of many, 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 many layers. Well, that's exactly how monster hail is created when there's layers and layers and layers of ice deposited on one small bit. It becomes much larger. That happens through an action we call convection. When the hail sits inside a stream of air, here's a convective stream, this is our hail, and as it kicks upwards, it collects some of that ice. Then it comes back down, and then kicks back up again. Well, it can do this in a thunderstorm many times over, building up that ice layer.
The most powerful storm cells can keep hail pieces suspended in the air for nearly an hour. And the longer they're up, the bigger they grow.
Until finally, it becomes too heavy for the thunderstorm to hold, comes down, and falls to the ground. And that's exactly how that monster hail is created.
A storm spits out huge pieces of hail at well over 100 miles per hour. In Texas, the monster hail has totaled Reed Timmer's car.
One of the most prolific hail-producing supercells I've ever seen in 15 years of storm chasing. I may not see a storm like that again in my storm chasing career.
Coming up, the rain of the apocalypse terrifies a town.
There was a really unusual weather disturbance right over Beebe that night.
And a lake eerily frozen in time. Beebe, Arkansas, December 2010. On New Year's Eve in a small town, a sign of the apocalypse came. Dead blackbirds rain from the sky. Their bodies are scattered all over roads and lawns. A flock of 5,000 have perished in one mass. For years, controversy rages over what caused this macabre rain. Now there is a theory the slaughter was triggered by unusual hidden weather. John Fitzpatrick is an ornithologist from Cornell University.
Birds are highly vulnerable to the weather. Every now and again, especially birds that migrate, they run into weather issues that really challenge their ability to stay alive.
And there are plenty of weather issues near Beebe on New Year's Eve 2010. The inhabitants just don't know about it. Powerful tornadic winds develop in the upper altitudes. The severe weather never reaches ground level, but high where the birds are flying, it kicks up a storm.
The fact that there was a really unusual weather disturbance right over Beebe that night, it's pretty suggestive that they got sucked into something that was obviously very damaging and dangerous. The weather anomaly that was going on there does seem to be pretty high. So what's quite credible is that big updrafts that took them up into the cloud.
Sucked up into the stormy conditions, it's thought that the blackbirds are battered by hail impacts and then spat out across the town of Beebe. Randy Cervini from Arizona State University is a weird weather specialist.
One thing that people don't realize is that the weather can have an impact on creatures like birds as much as they can have an effect on people. Because thermals, for example, these hot rising masses of air aren't visible, a bird can fly in them and literally hundreds or thousands of birds can be killed in a single thunderstorm.
The atmospheric roller coaster could have finished off thousands of blackbirds in one go. The process is known as cloud suck. German paraglider Eva Wisniewska is the only known person on Earth to experience what the birds went through and survive to tell the tale. Eva was competing at a competition in Australia when a storm closed in around her.
The hot air from the ground took me, and when I got sucked in the cloud, the lift didn't stop, and then I realized I'm really in a danger.
Eva is caught in an incredibly powerful cloud suck. The storm's hot air carries her upwards at 45 miles per hour. Suspended at 33,000 feet, higher than Everest, for half an hour, her body starts to become encased in ice. Finally, the thermal dies, and she is dumped back out. Eva suddenly awakes.
I realized I cannot wait because it's so cold. I will be frozen. Finally, when I could see the ground, and then I knew I'm safe, I survived.
Eva's cloud suck survival story goes down in legend, as does the blackbird rain in Arkansas. At least the town of Beebe can now sleep safe in the knowledge that the blackbirds, too, were simply victims of crazy weather. Abraham Lake in the Canadian Rocky Mountains, January 2013. Deep in the wilderness lies a rare and astonishingly beautiful sight. Towers trapped beneath the icy surface of a lake. These glassy stacks are frozen bubbles.
I think frozen landscapes are just magical, really. I mean, you can get so many different shapes and different sort of interesting formations that you would never expect to see.
Ice specialist Julian Struve says the bubbles are made by gas emitting from deep below.
You're having methane being released sort of at the bottom of the lake as the dead plants and animals are being decomposed by bacteria, generating methane, basically. So you get these methane bubbles in the water that then will move up the water column.
As the bubbles rise upwards, they get closer to the cold, icy surface of the lake. Near the top, they too turn to ice, their motion frozen in time.
Those methane bubbles get frozen in place in the ice. It's really quite beautiful to see all these sort of pancake-shaped bubbles that are just sort of stacked up in the ice column.
But beneath the beauty, these bubbles pack a punch. Coming up, the frozen bubbles come alive. And a floating rainbow that's upside down.
What is that doing there?
On Abraham Lake in the Canadian Rockies, bubbles are frozen in time beneath an icy lake, creating stunning glassy towers. But they have another trick up their sleeve. The methane gas that makes them is trapped inside and perfectly preserved.
Well, methane is a very flammable gas. So if you were to break apart one of these bubbles and have a match nearby, it's going to ignite.
Usually the gas only escapes when ice melts, but you can speed things up with explosive results. Locked in the serene frozen stillness is serious natural power. Ottawa, Canada, 2010.
Oh my gosh, guys! It's a daytime rainbow! What is that doing there?
A huge multicolored smile appears in the sky. Brighter than a rainbow, crystal clear and suspended in the air, upside down. On closer inspection, it's not a rainbow at all.
An upside-down rainbow isn't actually a rainbow because it's not associated with raindrops. To get what technically is called the circumzenithal arc, you need to have ice crystals.
Cirrus clouds contain ice crystals that act like a prism. When the halo from the sun's light hits them, it separates into the colors of the rainbow. The bottom of the sun's circular halo now appears as an upside-down rainbow. But this interaction can only happen when the sun is low in the sky and clouds are high.
Very, very high-level clouds, cirrus-type clouds that are found up near the top of the troposphere, somewhere around, say, 30 to 36,000 feet in the atmosphere.
Through ice, the rainbow colors don't overlap, so they're more defined and brighter. They are also in reverse order.
As light passes through an ice crystal, it is going to have a deflected path through the side. That is enough to invert the image of the spectrum so that it appears as if it were an upside-down style rainbow.
It's called a circumzenithal arc because you only see it by looking at the zenith. That's the point in the sky directly above your head. Chances are you've been right by an upside-down rainbow before, but just never thought to look up and see it. The weather on our planet is often so outrageous, it can easily defy our imagination. So wherever you are, keep an eye on the sky, because you might just see some of the strangest weather on Earth.